Hello and welcome to ScotDance USA's World Champion Dancers and Teachers interview series. I'm Emma Schiff. The Professional Development Committee at ScotDance USA wants to help the Highland dancing world stay motivated during these challenging times. That's why we're talking to the best of the best, World Champion dancers and their teachers. We'll learn about how they achieved what they did, plus their advice for dancers and teachers struggling during quarantine. We hope these videos can bring you inspiration. Enjoy. Today, I'm speaking with former World Champion Abbie MacNeil and her teacher, Maryann McCreadie. Thank you both so much for joining us. Abbie, I want to start by talking about an amazing thing you did. Aside from winning Worlds in the juniors, you came back the next year and came third in the adults while you were dancing in the Edinburgh Tattoo. Tell me a bit about how that happened.
Well, that's actually a funny story because I wasn't meant to be dancing that Kibble that year. We had not planned to dance Kibble that year, so I'd started a new musical theatre college and I wasn't allowed to compete in Highland dancing while I was training there. So due to that, we just decided that Kibble wasn't going to be a thing. However, that year I was accepted to dance in the Tattoo, and throughout dancing there, I was talking with Maryann and Aileen, and my mum and dad all really wanted me to try and just do the adults once before I stopped for the musical theatre. So I was in the Tattoo and I was dancing every day there. Aileen was also a great help at that point. She would do little classes with any of the girls that wanted to join in, and I would still see Maryann for some classes throughout the summer whenever I could get home. And we just decided, let's just do it one more year. My mum and dad had to contact my college where I was studying to get permission to see if I would be allowed to do it, and just said that I've been dancing my whole life. They would really love for me to be able to compete once in the adults at least. So they said yes, and then we were like, okay, let's just go do the Worlds one more time in the adults. And even though I hadn't done any championships that year at all, we just thought, let's give it our best shot. We've still been working, I'd still been dancing in the Tattoo, and I think the Tattoo for me that year was actually a big help because it was a lot of the Highland dancing that I was doing was in the Tattoo. If it wasn't for the Tattoo, I wouldn't have been doing so much Highland dancing. So I think that actually helped me quite a lot. And I was still making sure that I was taking care of my legs. You know, dancing on concrete can be not so good for your legs. So I tried to take care of them as best as I could while I was performing. And yeah, I just went and performed at Kibble. Competed at Kibble. I definitely didn't feel any pressure. You know, it was my first championship since winning the year before. So as much as you think you would feel pressure going in by being like a world champion, I really didn't, because I was in a completely new age group. I hadn't danced a championship that year, and I was just going to try my best to compete and in the adults and just dance really. And it was the first Kibble that I've done in a long time where I really actually enjoyed dancing there, and I did not feel any pressure. There was no pressure on me, and it ended up working out really well.
Maryann, why was it so important to you that Abbie try the adults at least once?
I just felt she still had so much more to give. I still think she's got so much more to give. I still think that get cool, giving it and one more shot, one more try. But I spoke to Aileen. She sent me messages and she says, Maryann, Abbie is coming along to our classes and she is working and looking so good. I think she should go to Kill. So then we contacted Abbie's mum and she pleaded with her college to let her compete. I mean, they own you, these colleges own you. I mean, I felt as though I owned Abbie, they owned Abbie. So we decided that she looked good, she was fit. Dancing at the Tattoo, I think, made you fit. So she was fit, her legs were good, she felt good. So it was wonderful. And you got a first in your swords.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's difficult. I always say adults is a beast. It's nothing like any of the other, juvenile or junior. When you get to adults, I mean, it's usually, several world champions and, runner-ups. And so that's pretty amazing. Good for you.
I think it was nice to go to Cowl without any pressure. I think any dance teacher, any dancer could spend their whole night talking about Cowl. It's just a Cowl. Like everybody's just it's like an emotional roller coaster. Everybody goes, and dancers put so much pressure on themselves. The teachers are trying to calm the students down, the dancers down. The dancers are so uptight. They want to do so good, but it can make or break a dancer as well, Cowl. It's just, I think most teachers will say Cowl's a love-hate relationship. We love it, but it's such an emotional roller coaster. Each dancer's got a different goal.
Mm-hmm.
A different goal. You walk through the gates at Cowl and you go, here, we're here. And then so it was great for Abbie to do that 1 year and to sit back and enjoy it. And it just shows you're not under any pressure. You can go and dance and just enjoy dancing.
Mm-hmm.
Abbie, clearly training for Cowl that year was very different. You were in the tattoo. As you said, you were doing classes with Aileen and classes with Maryann. What was your training like the year before when Cowl was the focus, the year that you won?
Maryann always does normally we have like 2 to 3 classes a week. We'll do a technique class, a stamina class, a championship class, depending on the time of year, and then everyone gets their private lessons if they want or if they're competing. So we definitely focused a lot on our technique and stamina that year, and definitely me personally a lot on stretching. I had to stretch so much in order for my legs to feel good and to feel good, the same that they did at the end of the dance as they did at the start, because and for me stretching was the only way to do that. So stretched a lot. We definitely worked a lot on technique all the time throughout my whole dancing career, and definitely as we got up to August time, I think we definitely take a step back a little bit. Maryann always says by the time you get to August, all your work's done and you've just got to work on making sure you're keeping your legs supple and strong. So we would use our championships more, because in August there's championships every weekend, a lot of the time 2 every weekend. So a lot of the time we would use that as our stamina practice and take it easier throughout the week, work on our technique, dance through the odd dance throughout each class, but never a flying sword change reel in one class on the lead up to Kibble. And yeah, just stretching a lot, I think.
I have a dance plan that takes us up till about August, and then come August in Scotland, there's championships every weekend leading up to Cowl, sometimes double championships every Saturday and Sunday. So come August, we just keep working on our technique, keep running through dances, keep just working hard all the way up to August and trying to stay injury free.
Abbie, was there one thing that was a big challenge? Sometimes it's turnout or point or stamina. What was that one thing for you?
For me, I was very lucky, I think, and turnout was a thing that I was, I think, gifted with. I still worked on it, but I was more naturally turned out. For me, the hardest thing was my legs. That I always said how I got dead thighs, and I felt like nobody understood the dead legs that I got, and I just called it dead legs because I didn't know what else to call it. So that was again why I had to stretch so much. My thighs would just seize up halfway through a dance, and then it feels so much harder because you're having to push so much more than it was always frustrating for me, because I felt fit enough, I'm not out of breath, I'm not dying, I could keep going, but my legs just give up on me. So for me, that was a big thing that I really had to work on. And by doing that, I had to just stretch so much every day. I spent at least an hour and a half, you know, before and after practices stretching, because it was the only way I was going to get like a build up of lactic acid out of my legs. After every dance as well, I would come off not being able to walk hardly and lie down, and Maryann would have to shake my legs to try and drain them, because they just got the lactic acid just built up so easily in my calves and thighs. I think I've always had, you know, big thighs and calf muscles, so due to like building strength in them, I just really had to stretch in order to be able to dance to my best.
Did you feel that mainly happened in practice, or did that happen often in competitions too?
Both. That, like, Maryann we would be doing a class and she'd be like, oh, what's up with you? Why are you stopping? And I would just say, Maryann, my legs are just dead. Like, and I honestly felt like nobody understood that. I'd never seen anyone else like die with the dead legs the way that we did, but I'm sure I'm sure everyone's experienced it, but it was just a really big issue for me. And yeah, it was definitely a lot in practice and competitions. I would say both.
I don't like to butt in, Abbie, but I used to always tell you to stretch, Abbie, stretch,
Yeah.
Abbie.
Yeah, she did. And then
tell
eventually I started stretching. And
she needed to stretch. I told her to stretch. So then she stretched that year and worked in her stretching.
Maryann, when I think of teaching, the first thing I think of is we're teaching people how to dance, how to do the steps, the right technique, but there's also a big part of teaching, which is helping students deal with things that you don't expect, like with Abbie having dead legs. That's not something you're trained for to deal with as a teacher. And there are other things that students have roadblocks in competitions and they don't go as well and they don't place as well. How do you help students overcome those disappointments or setbacks?
You just ride with them. You know, if your top dancer has a setback, the setback's with you as well. You know, if they're going through a problem, it's your problem as well, because most top dancers, you're so close to them. You know, they're part of your family and part of your life. And some kids have real setbacks if they've had real bad injuries and they were hoping to dance that year. So you're sort of like on the bumpy ride with them. You try and nurse them, depending on how bad things are. If it's an injury, you're taking advice from the physio, helping them. In fact, I had a student years ago. I know this isn't you, Abbie. Sorry, Abbie. 6 weeks she was nursing. I mean, for 6 weeks, all she did was toe raises. We went to the swimming baths. We did exercises. And the first time I saw her actually with a pair of pumps and a kilt on was at kilt. And that was like 6 weeks just working on different things to help them through that bumpy road or to help them through their injury. Like Abbie, I used to rock her legs and hold her legs. I was always convinced I had to stretch more. But now that everybody's got their foam rollers, you can massage yourself. You know, dancers have all got foam rollers and foam roller massages, so they can all foam roll their legs and massage their legs. Nowadays, there's so many things to help dancers.
Maryann, did you do anything besides just dancing with your students?
The most important thing is to dance. If you want to do Highland dancing, you Highland dance and you practice Highland dancing. But as you get knowledgeable and a wee bit more, learning, as a teacher, you learn all the time as well, and you try to strive for better things and to reach higher heights. So we decided that we've tried circuits, and we incorporated that into our dancing programme. We would try TheraBand resistance work to strengthen up different types of muscles. We'd incorporate that into a programme. We did swimming as well, didn't we, Abbie? We went swimming that in the programme. So when we're leading up, when you've got your different months of the year and what you tend to work on. So we had a good wee programme going together between dancing, working in your technique, building up some muscle strength, endurance, stamina, and actual fact that it never ends. You just keep going, keep working, doing different things to help.
And Abbie, in a typical practice for you, how did you work on stamina versus how you fixed corrections and worked on technique?
For stamina, I think the thing we would do most to work on stamina was like dance through our dance. We'd dance through a fling, and then as that gets better, you add on a step at the end. Then we would add on 2 steps. I don't think we ever pushed it to 3 steps. Maybe we did. But dancing through our dances and then adding on a step at a time. A lot of the time, Maryann would do different things, like work on different steps. So the swords, we would do the first step in the swords 3 times round, or not like, we would build up. So first time, baby high cuts. Second time round, try push your big high cuts. Third time, if you can, that's when you build the stamina, isn't it? Like pushing through that extra time. So third time, really try and push your big high cuts. Same with the sheen trews. We would do like first step in the sheen trews twice round, and kind of work on the steps so that you know how you want to feel in each step, and you keep doing that step until you are tired, but you still want to try and feel the same as you were when you did it the first time. I think for us, for stamina, we definitely dancing was our big thing with us, and stamina, just dancing through our dances and pushing harder each time and trying to add a little bit extra on each time.
How did you work on high cuts?
How did we work on high cuts? We just, Maryann always had we would do high cuts a lot. We would always do high cuts every class, and she had little different exercises that she would create, I guess. We would start with like baby high cuts, and then, or we would always do baby, 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 big, we called it. It's not really got a name, but so you do baby, 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 big, baby, 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 big, baby, 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 big, 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 big. And then we would just do that different, like quite a lot, most classes. And, we had quite a few different things, just doing like, even the first step in the swords with the high cuts, like trying to build strength, I think, in our thighs definitely, and hopping and jumping off the ground and trying to get height. Maryann, you probably will be able to answer this a bit better than me.
There's no magic recipe, I'm afraid. There's no magic recipe. It's a case of practice makes perfect. In the class, there would be chairs. I don't have a bar or anything in the church hall. There would be chairs at a table, and the dancers would hold on to the table or the chair, and we would just start off with, as Abbie says, baby high cuts. I don't even know if that's a word, baby high cuts.
We all know what that means. More about it.
So they would do like they'd start with their foot in third rear aerial position with the thigh back, make sure the support knee was over the middle toes, and work on that push off that supporting foot. So you could push, and I would say hold high cut, which is easy holding onto a chair or a table. And then really emphasise the push off the supporting leg to hold high cut out to second aerial position. The hold high cut would be the hard part, pushing off the supporting leg with the hard part, and landing with the thigh out and the supporting foot out as well with the hard as well. So it's no magic recipe. It's a case of just keep practicing it, push, hold and land, and just keep working on it. But eventually, like Abbie was quite a good high cutter because she had the strength to get off the floor, and a couple other girls had the strength to elevate up off the floor. And then what we used to do was play fancy music, like real good music, to do the extra, like 16, another 16, another 16. So we used to play like that fancy music. Good
By fancy music, she still means Highland music. That's the thing. Like fancy Highland music.
I kind of thought you meant like classical music.
No.
Like, oh.
Like a good lifting, lilting tune, real tune that would get them to feel the high cuts. And before you knew it, I'd say by the way, girls, you've done 64 high cuts, and they're like, oh, good. You don't realise because the music's good.
I'm going to shift gears a little bit here, and I want to know, Maryann, what do you think the parents' role should be? Do you like the parents to be in the classes, taking notes, more hands-on involved, or do you want them just drop the dancer off and let you do all the work?
Well, you need the parents on board, especially if you're at the championship standard. The parents, you rely so much on the parents taking them to all these championships and getting them there on time, making sure they're perfect, hair, outfits, and it's so expensive. It's just so expensive. So you need like the parent or the guardian or both parents. And I think when the children get to a certain level, and they want to do championship level, it becomes family orientated. It becomes part of the family life. This is what the family are involved so much that it becomes a big part of their life. Regarding coming into the class, I don't mind. Some parents are quite happy to sit in the class. Some parents are quite happy to drop the children off. But most dancers, I give them their corrections, they've got their notes, they've got their faults, how to try and fix it. And if parents are so involved at that top level, they'll make sure that their child's going to do their work and do their practice. They're not going to take them all over the country for them not to put any work.
Abbie, how instrumental were your parents in your success?
My mum and dad were very involved throughout the championships, never really to do with the dancing part. Like, even to this day, my mum probably couldn't tell you a good fling from a bad fling. So within the dancing aspects, she wasn't one of the ones to sit in class or take notes or write down my corrections or watch me practice or anything like that. However, they played such a big part in taking me to all of the competitions, driving me across the country, even to other countries like Canada and stuff. We went there. So if my mum and dad weren't involved, then I wouldn't have had half of the opportunities or been able to do half as well as what I've done. So I'm very thankful that they were so involved with me. Even since I was like 4, they would drive about 3 hours for a Paddy Baz and high cuts competition and stuff. So they really did play a big part in my dancing and like just supporting me. They did support me a lot, but they never got themselves involved between Maryann and I's technique or to do with the dancing or anything like that.
Clearly your parents had a lot of faith taking you to all these places, that you were working hard and that you were really trying to achieve your goals. Maryann, for you, was there a specific moment that you realized Abbie had a shot at winning the Worlds?
Regarding Abbie's winning the Worlds, I don't think I actually had a point where I thought, it's hard to tell. I would just like to say we had a journey. When Abbie was 12, her group was just so strong. It was such a strong wee group that the top 6 could be reversed. So going into Cowl, Abbie at 12, her expectation was to qualify in the top 4. So that she did achieve that. She qualified in the top 4 and danced at the Worlds, and that year she got nothing. So we're back again at 13, and every dancer getting into Cowl has some expectation, whether it's a medal, a championship point, a trophy, to win, or even it's their first time experience. So going back again at 13, Abbie's expectation for herself was to maybe try and get in the top 6, as well as qualifying for the Worlds, get into the top 6. So that year, she was 7. So then again, another Cowl comes, we go back again. So this is our journey. We're now on age 14. So Abbie feels her expectation is definitely to finish somewhere in that top 6. And that year, she was 3rd. And that was 14. Then when she was 15, her expectation, she's doing really well. She's winning most of the championships in Scotland. And every top championship dancer or top world dancer are their competitors. So they really begin like hoping to win, but the results are the results. And that year Abbie was runner-up, which was amazing, runner-up in the Worlds, and you'd beat with the world's best. So she was really happy that she did really well. Then the following year, she was 16, and I think that was the year that Abbie, she went in again, hoping to do really well, and she was runner-up. That was a hard one for her because she had two firsts, a first in the fling and a first in the swords, and then to be runner-up that year was it was amazing to be runner-up, but it was a wee bit hard. It was a wee bit hard to take for Abbie, so she was a wee bit disappointed. But she's a competitor, and she's a tough competitor, and she dusted herself down and she went back the following year and she won. So I was really, really delighted for Abbie. She deserved it. She worked really hard. It was years of hard work, and I was delighted for her mum and dad, and delighted obviously for myself and for the dance school. We were all really happy that Abbie achieved her dream.
Abbie, what was that moment like for you when you finally did win it?
Do you know, I just see from that day in general, I really honestly don't remember much. Like, I couldn't tell you how any of my dances were. I couldn't tell you how I danced, couldn't tell you what I did in between. Like, I think I was just in such a zone that day that I do not remember any part of it. The results, I remember the fling result came, and then the sword result came, and at that point I was just telling myself, like, do not get your hopes up. Like, you know, it feels like it's so long in between each dance from when they announced the results. So it was came off from the sword result, and I was just telling myself, like, just don't get your hopes up with, like, this has happened before, let's just stay calm. And then when the Sheen Choose result came out, it was just like so overwhelming, and I felt the audience like cheer, and it just felt like so many people were rooting for me in a way, and it was just such an overwhelming feeling. I honestly don't remember much from it, apart from just feeling so overwhelmed to that. And I just felt like everyone was so happy for me as well, which was just, even like the competitors that you're dancing with, everyone comes up and they're all giving you hugs, and I just felt so definitely overwhelmed and happy and just full of all these different emotions. You know, when it came to the real result, I couldn't even, it didn't matter to me what happened there. And yeah, just finally feeling like to myself, like, you finally done it, is definitely something that I felt, and I was just so emotional, so happy that I had finally done it. And, you know, doing the fling, that championship fling, was definitely something that I won't forget. You know, that's probably the part that I remember the most out of the day. And I remember going to start that fling and just feeling like the sunshine beating down on the stage, and as you go to bow, like, the sun shines on you, and it was just, I'd never been looking forward to dancing a fling so much in my life as I was at that moment. And it was just the most amazing, surreal feeling that I'd ever felt.
Maryann, what was that like on your end?
It was just, she's been such a hard worker, Abbie. She's just always, I mean, she was worked hard all years. You never had a bad class. She was such a good worker. And you just sometimes felt, you know, some gorgeous, beautiful dancers never win Cowl. And, you know, there's amazing dancers that I know that I've watched and loved, and they've never won Cowl. So when Abbie was like third, and then she was runner-up, and then runner-up again, I thought, oh dear, maybe she's just going to be one of these wonderful dancers that's never going to win Cowl. Because it's just, there's so many amazing, wonderful dancers that it's not luck, because you need to be amazing to be there in the first place. Top 20 in your age group, you're amazing. You've worked hard, you're up there. And I just felt I wanted Abbie to win the Worlds for Abbie. She's a fabulous dancer, and I wanted her to win the Worlds for her mum and dad, because I've spent all those years, all those weekends, all the money, and I wanted it for them as well. Me, it just fulfilled our wee journey together, because I knew she was wanting to do this other career. I knew she was wanting to be a dancer, and I always said to her, if you're a trained Highland dancer, you could do anything. But she wanted to do this wee career, and I thought, I'm going to lose Abbie to Highland, and it would be nice for her to go out in a high. So it was good. It was a great feeling. It was wonderful. It's like, it's every top dancer's dream to win the Worlds. But if you don't win the Worlds, you're still amazing to get to the Worlds. And the top 6 in the Worlds is an amazing achievement for any dancer.
Abbie, if you had to give any advice to your younger self, what would it be?
That's actually quite a hard question, I think.
Stretch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stretch, definitely, stretch a lot, and I would say, I would definitely put pressure on myself just by being so competitive. Like, I was always a very competitive child, and when I went to a competition, I would want to win. And it's just, as long as you dance your best, it's the results is just, someone's opinion, and it's not the end of the world. If you don't do as good, just use that to motivate you to try harder and to practice harder and to be better the next time. I would definitely say dance for yourself, and if the results are successful, and if you're successful in the end, then great, and if not, you were doing it for yourself anyway. You were trying to better yourself.
Maryann, what advice do you have for teachers to keep dancers motivated during this whole COVID-19, no competitions? What are you doing to keep your dancers engaged?
COVID-19, well, at this moment in time, we're all in the middle of a pandemic, and it affects each country different from each other. So it's really hard. It's bizarre, actually, that the whole world's slowed down. So it's just, regarding dancing, it just means the dancers have got time to go back to basic technique and try and fix the faults that the teacher's been working on for years. So they've got time to go back to basic, work on their half points, high cuts, shuffles, and just keep working. It'll not last forever. The ban will lift, and we'll all be back competing before you know it. So just be ready, good to go when we get told to go. And regarding motivating my dancers, well, I would say we bounce off each other. We motivate each other. We've got a wee timetable that they follow, and then come the weekend, Saturday or Sunday, we have a wee dance school challenge, and they enjoy that. So it keeps us busy. But to be honest, I can't wait to get back to my class, back to the buzz of the dancing school in my wee hall. And Zoom's not for everybody. It's been good, and it's been better than nothing, but I'll prefer to be back to class and see everybody's wee happy faces.
Abbie, would you have any advice for championship level dancers to keep working and hopefully improving over this time?
I would just, the championships are going to start back again. Like, it's going to start back again at some point. So use this time now to, like Maryann said, work on your technique, work on, maybe take things back to basics, things that you skip past, because Paddy Baz, you've been doing them since you were 4 years old, but let's just really take some time to work on them. Make sure your heels are turned around, make sure you've just got all the technique there, and use the time to try something else that you've not done. Like, for me, stretching wasn't something that I'd done throughout my whole time, or yoga. Like, try something new, try and see if it's helping you, if it's working for you. be better for you. But you might think, oh, this isn't working for me, and then you know, and you can try something else. But I would just say, you know, use this time to really like better yourself and work on your technique, work on little things that you might skip past or think, oh, I'll do that at the class, or I'll do that at the championship. And yeah, the championships will start back at some point, so you want to be ready to go then.
Good advice.
Okay, Maryann, what's your fondest memory?
Fondest memory, well, the Worlds is up there with the top. Fondest memory, I'll never forget that day Abbie won the Worlds. That's my fondest memory. Other great memories that I've had with Abbie was the BATD conference. We get invited for Abbie to dance a solo at the BATD conference, so that was great. And another fondest memory is the Royal Scottish Official Board of Highland Dancing Oscars. That's a fabulous night. It's just a wonderful night. The dancers are spoiled, and it's just a great night. It's just a fabulous weekend. It's just a fabulous night, and it's good for the dancers because they're really spoiled. They get presented with loads of fancy gifts. Elizabeth and Jacqueline think of something different every year for them, and it's just a great night. Joyful memories I would need to say for the school would be that we went to Oban every year. It's the Highlands and Islands Music and Dance Festival, and it's such a fabulous weekend for dancers and parents and the dance school. It's a fun weekend, although it's competitive. The kids love it because there's a wee bit choreography. You get to be part of a team. You get to be friends, and although it's competitive, we're all still friendly. We love the social side of it, and that's my joyful memories.
Maryann, what is the hardest thing for you to teach?
I've always said to the dancers that I can help them with their faults, their corrections, how they personally can improve. But what I've always said to them was, I can't help you for you to dance with the passion and the love and the sparkle. Once you're up on that stage, or once you go and try and perform your dance, that comes from you. So I've got a couple of, and throughout the years, I've taught different dancers, and they look they're so nice, but they've got that, they're so trying so hard to work in their technique and their steps that their face is so tense. They can't bring that sparkle they can't relax to dance and bring that wee sparkle to the stage or to the floor. And I find that bit, I feel that's hard to teach because that's got to come from the dancer. The technique and the timing, the technique, presentation as well. It's you can get them to use their head and show the presentation of the dance and the timing, the actual dance from the passion. I always felt Abbie could do that. She had that passion. She had that dance from the heart. She always had that as she grew up and got older. She had that wee passion to dance from the heart. It was just a performance rather than a championship fling. She performed the fling with the passion. Paulina used to come over every year. Paulina loved Abbie. You know, Paulina, I don't know, I think it was the both of them had the big bun, the big hair, and they bonded. Paulina and Abbie bonded. They just had a lovely bond. And I remember once she said to me, you've got 12 minutes to sparkle. 12 minutes.
From like the champion. From the start to the end of the championship.
From the start to the end of the championship, you've got 12 minutes to sparkle. And I always took that quote on board. And it's Paulina, I don't know where, to me, it's Paulina quote gave it to me. You've got 12 minutes to sparkle. I would see the children, if they're going to the championships and I'm not there, I give them wee notes like, fling. I start off with start, 12 minutes to sparkle. Then I give them the wee fling, couple of wee corrections in their fling if I'm not there. And then I go, 9 minutes left to sparkle, swords. 6 minutes left to sparkle, 3 minutes left to sparkle. It's all over. I hope you sparkled.
That's so sweet.
I
That's
love that.
a nice story. Obviously, I'm sure you know, Paulina and I were like sisters. So hearing something like that it's really special. And she did talk about you. She actually thought, I mean, it was like you were her daughter, like her hair, her, like everything about you. And she did speak very fondly of you.
My favourite photograph, I was going to actually say that to you, Abbie. It's my favourite photograph of Abbie winning the Worlds. Is with Paulina hugging her. It's my favourite photograph. It's just so special.
It was so special as well, because Paulina was like a big help to me that year as well, and like had so much time for me and so much support. And you know, like with that 12, like she would coach me through it as well, like with Maryann, you know, like your 12 minutes or keeping your stress levels down. Like she was such a big help to me and such a big support to me, that when I won, and she was there for that. And like I think that photo of that hug just shows like the both of us, like, and how happy she was for me, and how like she was just such a big inspiration for me, definitely. Like
you had a bond. I thought it was more like you had a sister bond.
yeah.
And every time she'd come over to Scotland, she'd say, Maryann, could I come to your studio? I'd say, Paulina, I teach in a church hall, you know, and she'd come down to the church hall. She just a lovely person, and she always spoke 12 minutes to sparkle, and that is my Paulina quote for my championship dancers. And I say, you get 12 minutes to sparkle, and it's all over. And it's just a great quote, and I'm grateful for Paulina.
We really use that a lot.
We use it a lot. You get 12 minutes to sparkle. Paulina's quote to us.
Thank you both so much for joining us.
Thank you, Natalie, Anne and Emma, for asking Abbie and I along to do this interview with you. I feel very honoured. Thank you.
Thank you both.
Yeah, thank you both.